Hey everybody, my name is Brad Nelson and I am a friend of Wear Gloves, of Ken and Wendy, and if you are watching this, you are too, and you and I share a common belief and a common conviction that the work that they're up to in our community, it's work that matters, it's work that we should be a part of, it's work that we should be upholding in whatever way we can. And I talked with Ken a few weeks ago about this building that they are trying to acquire to expand the scope of what they're able to do with their work and their ministry. And Ken said to me, would you be willing to just take a few minutes and explain the story of Gideon in the book of Judges, chapter 7? And so if you know anything about the Bible, you know that in a nutshell, the story of Gideon is essentially about a judge or a military commander going to war with Israel's enemy, the neighboring Midianites. And the way the story functions is this: Gideon has 32,000 troops. And at the beginning of Judges chapter 7, God says to him, nah, that's too many. If you go to battle with 32,000 troops, everybody's going to think, we did this. It's the strength of our numbers. It's the strength of our own hand. It's our superior military apparatus. And now you need to reduce the numbers. So tell all the people who are frightened to go home, and we'll see what you have then. So Gideon does this, and their army shrinks from 32,000 down to 10,000. 22,000 people leave. And God says to Gideon, no, that's still too many. That's still too many. So we're going to do this thing. I want you to take everybody down to the river, the stream, and I want you to watch for the people who drink the water out of their hands. If they drink out of their hands, I want you to keep them, but everybody who kneels down to drink, send them home. So once again, Gideon is getting ready to go into battle. He's taken his army of 32,000. He has subtracted and reduced it down to 10,000. And then they do this little thing at the river. And when all is said and done, 9,700 people leave. And Gideon is about to go into battle, having reduced his army from 32,000 to 300. And it's like God says, okay, well now we can get somewhere. Now we've got something to work with. And I don't know about you. I haven't done a whole lot of military planning myself, but that seems like bad math. So my kids, I've got 3 children, they come home needing help with their math homework. And of course, I feel like math has changed so many times since I was in school, and a lot of times I don't even know how to help them. Is this Chicago math? What kind of math do you call this? And the question is, what kind of math do you call this? Reducing from 32,000 to 300 in order to achieve a faithful victory. And I think the name for that is faith math. Faith math. See, God is really not about perceived advantages. God is about demonstrating his power through the handful of people, however many or however few that is, who will actually show up and be fully present to his purposes. You see this all the time with crime. When there's a huge crowd of people and something happens to somebody else, there is this dissemination of responsibility among the masses, and nobody does anything because they think everybody else is going to do something. But if something goes down and there's just 1 or 2 people, almost every time people feel a responsibility to respond. Yeah, this is how it works strangely. When we find and identify the people who are fully present to God's purposes, we don't need a bunch of people. We just need the right people. And so as Ken and Wendy are pursuing this structure, this property, this building to expand the scope of what they're able to do in the world, they want to invite you to be a part in this same faith math kind of way. So instead of trying to amass a bunch of people, they want to try and identify 300 people. 300 people who will commit to say, I am here, I'm fully present, I believe in this work, I believe that God is using this ministry to force out the darkness and the chaos in our community and usher in some redemption and some light and some beauty and some order. Are there 300 people who could say, yeah, I've got $1,000, I'll put $1,000 down in a lump sum? Or maybe it's not a lump sum, maybe it's I can make weekly or monthly installments over the course of 18 months. But we want to operate according to faith math and identify the right 300 people. And I just want to say this. The forces of darkness in our world tend to be well-funded. Think about drugs. Think about the kind of revenue that's generated through trafficking. Think about the kind of money that is in pornography, right? The darkness is always well-funded. The good, the light, the beauty, more often than not, gets by on a shoestring. What if we could change that? What if we, as a people, could learn to operate in this same faithful, faith math kind of way? Could we identify the right 300 people that would come to the table and allow God to work through them to deliver, to rescue, and save? So as Ken and Wendy and Wear Gloves and all of the homies who are doing this work pursue this new future and this new vision, I would just ask that you would consider funding this and being one of the 300 who chooses to operate according to faith math.